Welcome to the Porsche Club Insider, your one stop for all things Porsche and PCA. Here's your host, Vu Gwyn, and the Insider crew.
Welcome, everyone. We are back at PCA's national headquarters. It seems like it's been forever since we've been here, but it does feel good to be back at the table. To the right of me, I have Manny Albin. To the left at the controls, we have Damon Lowney. We want to make sure we thank Pirelli for their sponsorship, and thank you for listening. If you aren't currently a PCA member and own a Porsche, what are you waiting for? Grab that VIN, head over to pca.org, and make yourself a member. And for those of you that don't currently own a Porsche, check out our test drive program. We'll help you find that special Porsche for your driveway or garage. Just head over to pca.org. And once you become a member, you get the opportunity to put your name in the hat for cars such as the Club Coupe. And Manny's actually helped me out, as well as Laura. We've notified a few members thus far, and it's been pretty fun.
Do you want to tell them the secret sauce of how you pull names?
Yeah, it's funny. People are like, "Oh, why don't you do a production of and picking the names?" Okay, it is completely random. It's hilarious. People on Renless saying, "Oh, they're sorting it by people that want watches," and no, it is.
Give us ideas for next time, but this
no, we keep it. Doesn't matter how long you've been a member. Doesn't matter if you want watches. Doesn't matter if you want European delivery. It is completely random, and it's so random that it's very boring of a process. We use a random number generator. Everybody that has signed up to have the opportunity to buy a Club Coupe gets assigned an ID, and the random generator picks our folks. And as of this recording, we've already confirmed about 37 cars, and we continue to go down the list, and it's looking good. It's I would say almost double, if not more, than the demand of the 60th anniversary Club Coupe. But I also think it's not necessarily reflective of the car. I mean, yes, the new car is awesome, but I think it's also, we've got the whole social media, letting people know the opportunity. Like, we've communicated this opportunity to members, I think, much better than we've ever done in the past.
I think the Club Coupe, the brand it's become, is a little bit more well known after the classic Club Coupe, the 60th, and even the worldwide Club Coupe. People know what it is. Yeah,
we recently dropped a Instagram video of the 911 ST, which is a rare car. I think many people would love to be able to have an allocation for that car. Worldwide, that car is 1,963 units.
Yep.
Right? And I said that car was quite rare, but just look at the Club Coupe. There's 70 units. So puts that into perspective, right?
You could do a whole show on what is rare.
Yeah.
I always tell people rare isn't so much how much production, it's the desirability. How many people want it versus how many are available.
Right.
We use the 73 RS as a perfect example. They made a little over 1,500 or 1,600 of those cars, and that's a lot of cars. You look at a parking lot with that many cars, it's a lot of cars, but it's still considered rare.
Yeah.
You rarely see them. People always want them. They go for a high margin. You look at some Black Edition Cayman or Boxster, that probably doesn't have the same desirability, and they made lower production numbers than the RS. So
it's a very cool process. As I said, it's completely random, and we're excited to send information out to people that they have the opportunity or have the allocation. And of course, some people have declined. They got the call or got the email, and then they figured out finances or whatever it might be. They've declined, which means I go back to the well. And so some of you that haven't gotten the call yet, you might still get a call from me. So
I wonder, are you able to share with us for how many people you've called? For every 10 people, how many people decline?
I can't tell you that right now, but eventually, like I said, we have, I believe on the books right now, over 2,300 people interested in the car, and I only have, 70 to pull. So
we literally use a random number generator.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And like we say, we don't see the names. I just tell him number 375.
And I go down
and
the
then
list.
He looks at the spreadsheet, says 375. All right, highlights that. And we did this 69 times the first time around. So it wasn't like we were pulling names going, John Smith, you the one that.
Yeah, it's a really sexy Excel
Yeah.
script. that
Oh
he
yeah,
runs,
exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly. Shout out to Michael Tam, who's been sort of my counterpart at PCNA, who's been helping with all of the getting all the information ready, so that the sales folks at PCNA can reach out to the dealerships, educate them on this process because it's an above allocation to what they normally get, and then bring in the members to confirm their order. So Michael's been working very hard day and night with me. I drop him updates, and I've got to drop him an update. I have 2 more cars that were confirmed today. So, all right, I think you did a little bit of wrenching this weekend, right, man?
The first oil change on my base Macan we got for my wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you could possibly get any easier for an oil change and access.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone who has a base car knows that you always have more engine access. Even on my BMW Z3, I've got the 4-cylinder, not the 6-cylinder. So when you see a 6-cylinder engine bay, it looks like it's just stuffed in there. Where the 4-cylinder, you're like, oh my God, there's plenty of room. I can move around out of the straight knuckles.
I put my wrench in there.
That's how the Macan was. I looked at it, I'm like, oh my God, I think I can fill the PDK from the top without even having to jack the car up. It's so freaking easy to get in there. Everything is very easy access. Anyways, the weirdest part of it Sunday this morning was, I guess you may be familiar with this name, with the VW, or Audi. What's the VW engine? The filler hole has like a half...
Tamper-proof.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's called a tamper-proof triple square, and it has a hole in it, right? Like
no, well, this is where you put the funnel in to refill the oil. It's like a half moon.
Oh, gotcha. I thought I was thinking of something else.
No, this was a. But anyway, so Vu said there's a tool funnel you can actually snap in there.
Yep.
I had a small funnel that I was able to put in and slowly pour and I knew there's got to be a better way, but at this point my hands are dirty and I'm just pouring the oil in there. But that's the next purchase I'll make. But yeah, it was super simple.
Probably the most time-consuming thing was to remove panels.
That was it.
Access panels, right? Yeah.
Removing all the panels and putting them back in. But other than that, it was.
How many quarts on those motors?
Everywhere I read was 5.5 quarts, and it was exactly 5.5 quarts
With the filter change.
with the filter change. Yeah, I thought it was going to be 5 because the oil, you never drain all the oil.
Right.
But I went and checked the filter or oil level rather, and it said still short. I added 1/2 quart, and it said correct, and I'm like, wow,
And it's 040 still?
20.
020.
Yeah.
Then
you
my
gotta get-
Mazda.
You got to get a C20. You can't just buy. You can buy it off the shelf from Walmart, but it's got to be a certain. It's like X2 Mobile One, X2 EXP maybe or something like that. It's for the spec for Porsche.
Yeah. We're going to have to bring Lake back in because I think I mentioned this earlier. I had to get like a 016 or something.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
same
for
thing.
Toyota.
For my daughter's RAV4.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was just pouring water down. It's
Yeah.
like, is this protecting the engine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
No,
funny,
that's a slippery slope. We can get into that oil discussion here.
Yeah,
pretty quickly.
I should say, and this sort of goes into the topic at hand, but I did do a little bit of work this weekend. The Cayenne is always, the steering wheel is cocked to the left a little bit, and it's, and I'll put the camera on me. So the steering wheel is always left when I'm driving straight a tiny bit, but it'll drive straight. But sometimes I feel like over certain roads, it wants to pull to the right ever so slightly. So I did a string alignment just to check what my settings were, and I have a tiny bit of toe out
Yeah.
in the front right, and that would probably be it. So I lift the car up, and I'd already checked the other side and made a slight adjustment because that was 0 toe. So I put in slightly toe in on the left front. But on the right front, I couldn't get the tie rod to spin in the tie rod end.
Oh.
So the nut came loose, but yeah.
You couldn't turn
I'm
the-
wondering if that's why the car is aligned the way it is.
Well,
Because the
if
last
it's-
person couldn't get it.
It's funny you bring that up because I drove my Cayenne quite a bit. We're both talking about E1 Cayennes, the first generation here. And I've got to say, I've only done alignments for my car because I got new tires. For whatever reason, the front end on those E1 Cayennes seem to be so incredibly robust no matter what potholes, and it always drives straight, like straight as an arrow. And my tires always wear perfectly across the tread.
Yeah.
It's a very beefy suspension.
Yeah, it
So,
looks like it.
Yeah, so maybe that's
So once it's stuck,
like you got to get it
there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I've already took a torch to it. I've
Yeah.
already gotten
penetrating oil or something.
penetrating oil. I've taken a torch to it. I've let the car down. What did I do? I took a jack
Yeah.
and I had 2 wrenches over the tie rod and just
Still didn't
kind of
move?
like did that, and it actually slipped the wrenches over.
Ooh. Wow.
So yeah, that's going to
Yeah.
be interesting trying to get that aligned
And you're doing that on your back.
on my back. Yeah.
You need to bring it over to someone that has an alignment rack, get up higher, and then get a bigger breaker bar or something.
Yeah,
Give you more
I
leverage.
want to save the money, but
More
maybe
fire.
this time.
Yeah, more fire, more fire,
More fire. Yeah.
more penetrant oil. So, anyways, that's a great segue because today we're going to be talking about E1 Cayennes, the first generation, more specifically Damon's Cayenne, because it was a quote unquote smoking deal from Rob Sass. I happen to have a 06 E1 Cayenne. My Cayenne's different from his in the sense where mine is a V8 S and yours is a base 6-cylinder,
Yep,
right?
a base 6-cylinder, 3.2 liter. Gosh, I should know this. 3.2 liter, 250 horsepower VR6. It's basically what you would find more or less in like a Golf R32 of the era. So really nice engine.
So share with our listeners, sort of the sale of the car, how much you got it for, and what you were initially expecting.
Yeah. So Rob bought this, I want to say roughly 2 years ago now, with 130,000 miles. I thought it had closer to that when I bought it. I didn't realize he had driven it like 40,000 miles.
And didn't he do the pre-purchase inspection after he bought the car?
I believe so.
This is the one he bought the car. He looked around to make sure it wasn't leaking anything, and then he buys the car. Then he takes it to have it
Look at
checked
Manny.
out.
Look at Manny putting Rob under the bus.
No, because
But-
we always say that Rob looks at something with rose-colored glasses.
He does.
But he has like this guardian automotive angel.
He does.
That sits behind him that somehow always steers him into good cars.
Yeah.
And nothing goes bad.
I believe this was a story of like a little old lady owned it.
Yeah.
Like no one was ever in any other seat except
Yeah.
the driver's seat, and she was like 90 pounds. So the interior is beautiful.
Yeah.
The exterior is also, I think it was garage kept.
Yeah,
the car is
it's
beautiful
a good
car.
interior, good exterior. Now that I've sort of had it for a while, it's not as shiny and nice as I thought it was.
It's turning into Damon spec.
yeah, Damon spec.
But it's lapis blue, right?
It's lapis
It's a
blue,
beautiful
or
color,
lapis
yeah.
blue, as I think Ilko told me to pronounce it. So lapis,
lapis
tell
with
us.
tan interior.
Yeah, with a tan interior. And so very nice car, from 5 feet even on the exterior. On the interior, it's one of those when you look inside the driver's seat, especially at nighttime, and you have the glow lighting, it has a lighting package on it. It just looks so nice, and it is a really nice car to drive, especially at night. But the headliners flapping around in the back.
Same with mine.
The underneath the glove box, you'll have a little panel that has your two 12-volt like cigarette lighter
Right.
sort of sockets. That's all flapping around. And it doesn't drive completely straight. It drives straight, but the wheel is to the left a little bit. And I'm just going through the stuff that I kind of have learned since buying it. And the transmission valve body shift solenoids, which actually shift the gears in the transmission when the computer tells it to, or you do in manual mode, those are sticky and old, and so they shift hard 50% of the time and smooth the other half of the time, both downshifts or upshifts. So,
Which is somewhat of a common problem with those.
yeah, apparently it's a
higher
very
mileage
common problem.
transmission. Yeah.
And I'm guessing that's
Across
a
the
touring
6-cylinder
problem
and the 8-cylinder?
and the
Yeah,
8-cylinder.
yeah.
Huh.
But I think you use the same transmission, right?
Yeah.
Between
I'm
the
pretty
two?
sure,
Yeah.
and I want to say somebody told me like the turbo has like extra cooling or something.
Yeah.
But basically the same transmission. So
Did you say how many miles the car had when you bought
yeah,
it?
so I bought it for $3,500 in the very beginning of January, and it had about 168,000 miles and change. Now it has about 173,500.
And Rob had used this car. Did he have it like
A
a
lot.
year or 9 months or something like that? He had it.
Yeah.
He drives a lot.
I mean,
Year and a
he
half?
drove it from Michigan to here several times.
Yeah.
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 He drove it about a year and a half, I believe. And yeah, 40,000 miles. So when he bought it, he knew about the transmission and that it was sticky shifts, bad shifting. He lived with it, as I have, for the past 5,000 miles. The paint was good. Everything was nice on the car. He looked under it, as I have. It's really nice. Missouri car.
Yeah.
So not a ton of snow. He had the water pump done when he first got it. And I believe he had the center or the gauge cluster, that center digital display that it has your fuel economy and all the stuff that you can change to, the compass. He had that replaced since that wasn't working.
Oh,
so
you can replace that? Mine has that. It's like pixelized.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So he had that replaced
I
under his care. So almost everything, if not everything, does work. It's just a little bit, it's 173,000 mile car now.
And it's a 2004?
05.
05. Okay. 05. Now, for the, our picks that we do every 2 weeks, the Mart Fresh picks.
Yeah.
I picked a higher mileage Cayenne. I think it was it E1 or E2? Maybe it was an E2, but
I think it was a 2011.
yeah, it was a more
or
modern
2014.
one.
I picked one too.
I guess what I'm getting at is for $3,500, an E1 with that kind of mileage makes for a great, I think, for a new driver or a young driver, because that thing's built like a tank, right?
Yeah.
It's built like a tank. Can't really go that fast. It's a Porsche.
Yeah.
But you do have to keep in mind when things, need attention, there's kind of a Porsche premium on it.
Yeah. So I would say, just on that and some of the things that, I've known since I bought it, if you're not willing to live with sticky shifts and it's happening on your test drive, I would say walk away from that car. And that's purely because the part, if you buy it brand new from Porsche, is $2,700
Whoa.
to fix. So
That's the valve body, right?
it's the valve body that has all the solenoids.
Not
I'm
a new
sure-
transmission, just the valve body.
Yeah, just the valve body. A transmission, I'm guessing, is more. But I would probably walk away unless you want to find a transmission and pay a mechanic, if you can't do it yourself, to install it. And that's a gamble if you don't know the condition of the car it came out of.
Oh.
I've built a rebuilt valve body with new solenoids, but the rebuild was the solenoids. It wasn't the gasket that looks to be sandwiched between two parts of the valve body. So it's long story. It's basically, you don't want to deal with that because it'll probably be expensive.
Huh.
So yeah, walk away from a Cayenne if you're not willing to put up with sticky shifts, because it's probably not going to be a cheap fix.
Now,
How many miles does your Cayenne have?
Mine has 150, 155.
You don't have the sticky shift.
And I don't know what
Knock
causes
on
it.
wood. No, I
And
don't.
it didn't happen all the time because I rode back and forth with Damon and his
Yeah.
in parade, and sometimes it would do it, sometimes it didn't.
On our ride, it was probably closer to 70% good shifts and 30% bad.
So is that something where...
And it wasn't one of these things where you're like, oh my God.
Oh.
It was just, he told me about it ahead of time. So when it happened, I knew that's what it meant. But
Oh, what does it feel like? Maybe mine has it. I don't know.
So so Manny didn't get to experience I think 2 times it happened on my drive to and from parade, but 5th to 4th, going up to a turn, I'm on the highway,
Uh-huh.
5th gear, let's say 3,000, 2,500 RPM, and I downshift to 4th, and it'll sort of blip a little bit, but not enough. And then it sort of hangs there, and then that's when you brace yourself because it's about to engage the gear, and it just, boom.
Oh, really?
Like,
Like
and
that hard?
Yeah, sometimes it feels like, I hope it didn't riff the transmission.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah.
no, I didn't feel that.
Knock on wood. I definitely have not felt
Yeah.
that. Now, does it happen when you just have it in drive, or is it?
I never drive it in drive. It's always in manual mode.
Because it was happening in drive so much, or is that why you don't?
If you let it, let's say you are in 4th gear, puttering along at 30 miles an hour,
Yeah.
like in traffic, and you
Yeah.
see an opening,
Yeah.
and you have it in drive, and you
Mash
press
it
the
off.
throttle pedal, and it kicks down. It might kick down 2 gears,
Uh huh.
and the stickiness of those solenoids is still potentially going to happen. It doesn't like shifting 2 gears at a time.
Oh, okay. I haven't had
It gets
anything
really
violent like that. So
confused or slow.
does a fluid change or an additive or whatever, could that?
So Rob had the
Address-
fluid changed before he sold it to me, thinking maybe it'll help. I don't think it did.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have some fun at some point
So-
between now and the end of winter.
So since we're realists on this show, I'm going to confess. My car's got 150,000 miles. I've never done my transmission fluid.
And we talked about this.
And it's like, I'm like, because I honestly, for those of you that are listening, can you tell me what an E1 transmission fluid should last? I
It's
thought,
12 years or 160,000 miles. One of the two, or 12 years or 140. I'm pretty sure.
So-
And the diffs are, I believe, the same.
okay, so I'm under the mileage,
You're under the mileage
but
potentially.
I'm over
you're
the I'm over the years.
the years by a good chunk.
Because sometimes I worry about like everything is fine now, and if I go and flush it and put new stuff in it, would it then create a problem? So for those of you that are listening that are experts in the E1 or have maybe experienced this, what do you think? Should I do the transmission and diff flush now, and what should I use? And
Well, AI, which of course is never wrong, says E1 60 to 80,000 miles.
oh yeah, I'm well
Oh, wow.
well past that. But that can't be right. That can't be right.
We'll
That can't
see.
be. I remember it was like one
pretty
something.
sure it's
That
longer.
denial episode.
but it's 12 years or a mileage.
I got to do the same thing on my Boxster because it's Tiptronic too.
Yeah.
It has 125,000,
Yeah.
and
And it's not a straightforward drain and top off. I mean, it's a process, isn't
Yeah,
it? To-
it's one of those. If you mess up, at least on the Cayenne, if you mess up, you have to start over, and that's because it takes 7 quarts, but the pan only holds 3. So you have to have the car on.
Yeah.
And don't quote me on this because I haven't done it. I definitely do more research before I do this myself. But you would have the car on. I believe you're supposed to have it on jack stands or something, and you'll be shifting it into reverse, neutral, and drive for a while, and using a durometric or one of the tools that can monitor the transmission fluid temperature. Or Pelican Parts says hold a pyrometer up to the pan, is the garage sort of thing to do. And there's a certain temperature where you plug the fill hole in the transmission while the car is on and running. And that's because I believe as you are adding quarts, remember only 3 quarts are held in the pan, but you need to get 7 in there, the transmission sucking that fluid up and holding it in the transmission. If you let the transmission fluid heat up past a certain temperature, it'll expand and come out of the fill hole, and you'll not have enough in the transmission.
Oh.
So you have to start over at that point. So
you're trying to get the stuff out of the torque converter.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's where what he's saying in the transmission, a lot of it lies. Like my Suburban, there's a method where basically you have a tube that you keep on funneling transmission fluid, and it, and like Damon said, is running through the gears and whatnot, and you're seeing all the old transmission fluid go out, and you're just adding fluid, so it's not recirculating. You
Right.
just keep on adding fluid till you see the fluid color
Change.
The Tiptronic videos I saw was a little bit different, but getting it out of, I don't know, I'm sure the dealer must have something that can get it out of the torque converter. But either way, I think we're going to have to suck it up, and you can't go forever.
I know.
Although I'm sure people comment that they haven't changed their transmission fluid forever.
Until one day the car is just like,
And then I watch videos that say, hey, if you haven't changed it by this point, don't change it.
yeah.
See, I'm not a fan of that because, in some respect, it's been in there, it's still working, but, by their nature, that oil and that transmission has shed a lot of metal over the years, and they gather on magnets on your drain pan. I would rather change the transmission fluid than
I agree with Damon.
keep
Yeah.
it going.
Yeah, everything that I've learned tells me that the fluid breaks down. It's not doing what it's supposed to.
Yeah.
So you weren't necessarily in the market for an E1 when this opportunity came about. I mean, you heard
No.
we always know Rob is going to go through a car.
I told
eventually.
him if he's ever going to sell it, when he first bought it, I told him, if you're going to sell it, let me know because I like your Cayenne.
Yeah.
I like
And
the
we
blue.
joked he'll be selling it in like 9 months.
And he did.
And it was like a year and a half,
Yeah.
so 2 years almost.
Yeah.
but I didn't need the car.
But the price was very attractive.
$3,500. I had to do the. So Rob started the spark plug and coil pack change, and I finished the last 3. But in the last spark plug hole, there was oil. So I figured this is when the valve cover comes off, and I do the valve cover gasket while I'm doing the spark plug seals. And yeah, that was not an easy job. I thought it would be easy, but it's just so tight back there near the firewall, and there's so much stuff, cam position sensors, that you have to remove, and vacuum lines that you can snap. Which I did snap one, and then there was another vacuum line that was already broken and split, which I think I showed you. It's the Venturi tube, they call it. So I had to go in, do some work. These hoses aren't super cheap. One of them, I think the Venturi hose was probably $100 or so.
Wow.
But the car runs great. I replaced the, the variable intake cylinder that changes the runner length for different torque and power profiles. Because when I was taking the intake off to do the valve cover gasket, the cylinder just fell out, and the 2 little bushings just sort of were loose and fell out as well. So, and you have to file that down because the bushings won't fit into the hole unless you file them all the way around. It was quite the job.
But the car is running pretty good, even though
it's
you had
running
3
great
new spark plugs, 3 old spark plugs. It was
I want to say it's running a little bit better than it was, smoother on acceleration. And overall, I'm probably in the car, bought it for $35, let's say $500 for registration and tax, or whatever it was. I'm probably $5,500 in, so I probably put about $1,500 or so in parts.
Plus your personal sweat and labor.
Yes, exactly.
That makes a big difference because you're not paying a shop to diagnose and then fix the.
And you got to think shops probably don't do a ton of valve cover gaskets with Cayennes, and when they do, they're probably in similar condition. I don't think a valve cover gasket on a high mileage Cayenne is such a straightforward sort of thing, even with the V6.
So. This I was thinking about this the other day. There's a lot of Cayennes out there now with E1, E2, E3.
Be picky.
Right? So my question is, has a shop kind of like if you said an air-cooled car, Manny, tell me about an air-cooled car or air-cooled shop. There's somebody we can name. Oh, Manny, if there's somebody that can handle suspension for modern 911s, who would you go to? Like, we have an answer for that, but do we have an answer for, hey, who works on Cayennes?
I don't.
I mean, there's people that work on them, yes, but are there like a specialist? Is there like
Euro-wise, but they're more of like an
off-road?
Off-road.
I'm just saying, just straight up, like they focus on. They've got a parking lot full of Cayennes and Panameras, and that's all they work on.
I think any shop. It's not complicated. It's not rocket science. It's when you have a problem that isn't common, that the shop that specializes in them or has worked on a lot of them will know exactly what that issue is. So you're not paying all this diagnostic hour for the person to be educated and learn, oh, look, this is what you should be doing when you replace this part. I think any of the Porsche shops like around here would be able to work on them.
Yeah.
Like Rich at Speed, they might not see a lot of Cayennes, but if you take him a Cayenne, he's not going to say, I don't work on this because I don't know it.
Yeah.
They're going to be able to diagnose some issues pretty quickly.
A lot of these shop owners who are Porsche shop owners probably own Cayennes too. That's another thing to think.
Yeah.
So you got to think people can. There's a lot of VW in common with the Cayenne V6 especially. So maybe some jobs, a really good VW shop. But again, I'd probably rather take it to a Porsche shop.
Now, you've driven my V8 Cayenne, but do you remember compared to your 6-cylinder, do you feel a difference? Or you remember a difference?
It's tough to the drive I remember, and the most I think I drove it was a quick squirt at Tech Tactics East to do an errand, I think. And I would say they feel similar, not from the engine standpoint, but like just how they drive, suspension and all that. We both have the steel springs on, regular shocks. Your car definitely is faster. Mine isn't. And
you get like the same gas mileage.
Yeah. The VR6 sounds really good.
Yeah.
Like at some point, exhaust and turbocharger. Honestly,
my
sounds
gosh.
fun in that turbocharged VR6
Yeah.
and lapis blue, so it kind of looks like a big R32.
I thought it was interesting when I remember when the 6 first came out. My first thought was, well, this is a cure to the complaint about bad gas mileage on these cars.
Yeah.
And then you find out that there really
not.
wasn't an improvement at all with the
I do
gas mileage.
I do remember the 6 is the one where you could get a manual, not and like you could get a GTS, an E1 GTS in a manual, but you couldn't get it in a normal V8 or even a turbo. But a 6-cylinder E1,
Pretty sure that
you could get
the
a
05
manual.
would come in
Yeah.
a manual if you wanted.
Yeah,
In your head, you would think that parts would be cheaper on the 6 because it's Volkswagen based, but the V8 is Porsche design.
Yeah.
I don't know if that.
Yeah,
not
it's.
that any.
I
truth?
think that the parts are you're still paying the Porsche tax.
Yeah.
And I have a theory on this. So VW after 05, 2010, I think it was like 2009 or 2010, the Jetta, for example, they made it different for the U.S. to simplify it, and probably a little cheaper to fix, and all that good stuff. But the Cayenne is from the Piech era of VW when the Veyron was being released around that time, 05, 06, I believe. To me, it seems like a fairly complicated SUV in some ways, like an oil, and maybe not complicated, but you're paying the Porsche tax. The oil coolant heat exchanger, which I can see a small leak coming from it. I hit up Sunset Porsche Parts, and I'm still waiting on the part. Like, this was 3 months ago, and it was like $470. And it's it's like the same sort of part that I put on my 987 Cayman, the double stack 996 coolant oil heat exchanger. But yeah, on the Cayenne, it's even more money. So, and I wouldn't say it's a lot cheaper.
okay.
Some things might be,
So,
like
like,
valve cover gaskets might be, but
I'm looking at an 09 Cayenne GTS on Facebook Marketplace right now. Not for myself, I just decided to look it up. It was 72,000 miles. They're asking 5,500.
Wow.
Yeah, for a
Wow.
GTS 09 GTS,
70-some thousand miles.
72,124 miles.
there's something wrong with that.
That's cheap.
But that might be a good project car for somebody.
That's
I'm
cheap.
selling my Porsche. Engine, transmission runs well, no problems, no leaks, no lights on the dashboard. Title's clean. Brakes will need to be bled, and the rear window is half blocked. It probably needs motors.
Wow, that's a smoking deal.
Yeah, it
Now-
sounds like it.
With that, yes, but in my pessimistic mind, sometimes I look at it and I say, let's see what that means.
Yeah.
If it's whenever they say easy fixes, then I'm like, why didn't you fix it then?
Yeah.
If it's that easy,
Yeah,
if
why
the
didn't
brakes
Easy
just
fix
needed-
it and sell it for
The
15?
brakes just need to be bled. That's
Yeah.
the easiest thing you can do is bleed the brakes, right?
Yeah.
Unless it's not just the brakes being bled.
Yeah.
And window motors, yeah, it's pretty straightforward, you would think, but they're not cheap either.
Right.
I know that the window regulators and motors can get
Yeah.
really high up, and I don't know if Rock Auto makes generic replacements for those
Yeah. And
parts.
brakes on the Cayenne
Yeah.
as well, not just the V8, but mine are even slightly smaller, but I still think I paid $900
Oh yeah.
or so for pads and rotors.
And then you put it in yourself, which saved a lot of money
yeah.
at any repair
Not
shop.
super cheap, but I think, it's got enough in common, and, VR6 parts. I mean, if you're going to be replacing parts on the VR6, it's probably pretty far gone. But, vacuum lines are probably roughly the same. The AOS stuff is still expensive. So don't buy it because you necessarily want super cheap. Buy it because you want to buy it cheap.
Yeah.
And the V6s are really cheap to buy.
All right, I'm going to do a little speed round question for you because I know this is stuff that I had to address with mine. Have you had it to address it with yours, and is it even something you have to worry about being the 6-cylinder version? So let's see if I can do a speed round. Okay, your rear hatch struts. Do you have to replace those? Did your tailgate fall on your
I
head?
do, and it's in
Don't you
hot
remember
weather.
that broom handle he had?
I had a broom that I would.
Okay, it's
Yeah,
not it's not difficult to do, but it's not easy to do, and it's actually 4 struts. So
Wow, 4 struts.
and you have to-
Where did this 4 go?
It's on the top, so it's 2 for the window and 2 for the hatch, and they're all in the ceiling, hidden underneath your your headliner. So it's
nice
and you
and
got to
clean.
squeeze. You need baby hands to kind of undo all the clips.
Yeah.
So that's something that you definitely. It's not hard to do, but when you're buying one, know that it's going to be a couple $100 just for the parts, and then
Yeah.
the labor, if you're not doing it yourself, is not.
See,
not
and
exactly-
there we go. A couple $100 to fix the hatch struts.
Hatch struts.
It's the Porsche tax, or the PX tax, I should almost say.
because people tend to forget, and these do clog up very well, very easily, is the drain. So if you have any kind of moisture smell in your car, it's because your drains are clogged.
So I didn't do that, but Rob did right before he sold it to me, because
Okay.
Rob's a stickler about that.
Yeah.
So I need to remember. I will say, on that note, when I was driving to Parade, I had the AC on, as full blast as possible. The AC blower motor is very weak on it, and I knew that going in from Rob. But the AC doesn't work super well either. Additionally, the condensation would drip somewhere in the center console, and I only noticed it after a full day driving when I was exiting a gas station, entering or exiting. The car is shaking around over the driveway and tipping a little bit. It tipped enough to where some water spilled out from the center console area onto the carpet next to my leg.
Okay, so check the
So,
drain, that panel that you were talking about earlier with the cigarette lighters. So above that panel is a drain tube, and you pull it from the firewall and
Either
make sure
clogged or disconnected.
It's
Yeah.
probably clogged. It's probably clogged.
Yeah.
The fact that you said that panel was loose means somebody was probably already
Probably
in there.
Yeah. That's
So
what I've been
maybe
thinking.
they didn't attach it correctly. So look after that.
Part of me thinks the dash might be coming out of that car sometime.
How about, have you wiggled they call it a cardan shaft, but it's really the drive shaft bearing, and it's a rubber surrounded bearing. Is yours?
So I haven't heard anything or felt anything, but that was on my mind because we
Yeah.
did that video on your car.
Yep. So give it a tug and see if it's moving around. And you can look at, if you just look at it, you can see if the rubber is breaking down. If it's breaking down, then you want to address that.
Yeah.
Again, the part for that is, I think, a couple $100.
Yeah.
Labor is not bad if you do it yourself, right?
Cut off wheel, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly.
Yeah. My more recent issue is the crank position sensor. So take a look at that. And
Yeah, but V6 might be a little different.
might be a little bit different.
Might be better, might be worse.
Yeah. Do you have to worry about coolant lines? Because that's
I don't think so. That's
so
a V8 thing.
So the V8s, yeah. So the V8s originally, by now, most of them have already been converted from the plastic coolant pipes to the aluminum ones. But even if you've had the aluminum ones put in, sometimes the sealant that the mechanics have used to put in the aluminum ones start to fail, and coolant can start to leak over the top of your transmission, and that coolant can actually destroy the flywheel, and so if you
hopefully I
smell
don't
anything
have that.
sweet, if you smell anything sweet when you get out of the car, start looking for coolant. You already talked about your water pump, so that's been done.
Yeah, that's been done. But again, German car, it's got like almost 50,000 miles on that
Yeah.
water pump now.
Keep an eye on that. Coil packs, for some reason, I would think your coil packs are probably like mine, and they just don't last. I don't know why a Suburban coil pack for $9.99 can last 200,000 miles.
Well, 300.
Yeah.
But a coil pack,
Yeah.
a high performance coil pack from Porsche that lasts is like 50.
So I did coil packs and spark plugs, and when I was doing that, I had to actually, and it held, but remember I had to solder on a new clip for the injector clip. So it has a advanced auto gray clip, and it works, and it lasted the whole time. I just soldered it, shrunk wrap it, and all good. So something, I guess, if you're doing anything like a valve cover gasket on these cars, be very careful taking the intake off on the V6, because it can get caught on all the wiring and the injector clips and break them, which is what I did.
Another thing is, believe it or not, your battery, having a good battery, if the battery's weak or not fresh, sometimes it can throw some codes, which I was hoping that was the case for me, but there's actually another problem where the four-wheel drive actuator can sometimes be finicky, and if something's wrong with it, it throws a code and it says something's wrong with the four-wheel drive. But it still works. I mean, the car's all-wheel drive, so it still runs. It's just you get this warning on the dash. And let's see, your lights, I think your headlights seem to be in good condition, so I don't think you have to do anything with those. But
So headlights are working well enough. And when you say good condition,
Well, your lenses are good, but that's one thing.
they
So,
flicker a little bit, but they never turn completely off. And I'll get a check headlight beam, but every once in a while it'll say
Yeah.
dipped beam,
yes.
and
yes.
but it always seems to work. So I'm
the
okay
reason
with that.
the reason being is I think the insulation on the interior of those lights is made of cornstarch.
Yeah, it's all flaking. I'm not going to open
If
them up
you
again.
open it up, you just see flakes of wire, and so what I've done is I've gone in there and literally got one by one and either put heat shrink or just isolated all of my wires with tape, and seems to be okay. But I still have another thing about the self-leveling, and that I believe has to do with on the suspension there is a self-leveling monitor or something like that, and those connectors, because they're open to the salt and whatever that we have here in Maryland, they corrode, and when it doesn't have that signal, then it doesn't know what to tell the lights to do to go up and down.
So they just sort of sit there. They seem
They
to be
just-
pointed in the right direction.
yeah,
so-
they sit. Thankfully, they're sitting in the right, I guess, whatever position. But yeah, that's
When you say they flicker, do you mean like they turn off and then turn on again?
It's- I don't even know if
The-
they turn all the way off, but they dim. Like
Yeah.
it's almost somebody behind me probably thinks, I don't know if they dim or if they flash a little bit, but
Yeah.
probably somebody behind me would look twice and say, "Did that guy just flash me?"
so they changed
So-
like power level.
A little bit. So, but I think in an inspection, they'll probably be fine. The
Yeah.
corner lights work after I isolated and used liquid electrical tape to isolate those wires. But there's other wires. Like you could tell as soon as you move those wires. But the thing that's going to get me, and potentially, is only one of my two high beams works, and I've already replaced
Oh.
the bulb on the one that didn't work. So now
That must be the wire related then.
it probably, and I'll have to figure that out and how to make it work, because in a year and a half I'm going to have to get it inspected and register it as a regular car.
Yeah.
So
And then the final thing is when you're looking at these cars, see if there's history on the starter being replaced and or the alternator being replaced, because those two items, at least in the V8, they're kind of buried, and it's a lot of labor to replace those. So if you have a high mileage vehicle and those have not been replaced, one, the part's going to be expensive, and the labor to do it is going to be expensive. if you're
the
paying someone.
alternator, so I haven't researched this myself, but Rob certainly did before he bought the car. Apparently the alternator is much, much cheaper, and it's not liquid cooled like the one in the V8. So that
okay.
is one area where you don't pay the Porsche tax quite
Yeah.
as much in the V6.
And then finally, the emissions tubes or hoses under the hood, they dry, they crack, and they will forever give you a check engine light. So if you're looking at a Cayenne of this era, more than likely it has a check engine light, and more than likely it's because of the emissions problem. Yeah.
And mine didn't, and I don't know how my car didn't have a check engine light when it
Well,
had that
the
hole
hole
in
in
the
it?
Venturi tube,
Yeah.
which is the spaghetti line. But,
Yeah.
but that's all part of the system.
But other than that, Manny, they're fantastic buys, and they're wonderful to drive. They're completely solid. You can drive them as a daily driver. You can go to parade and take thousands of miles on it. Super comfortable. And I've autocrossed mine. I haven't done I don't think I can DE. I don't think I'm allowed to DE that car, right? I can't remember. Anyways,
not
but
sure.
I've never done a DE in it, but I've done many autocrosses, and it's a lot of fun as an
I
autocross
think
car too.
Potomac you can do a D with it.
Yeah, there's some
Maybe some other regions don't.
Don't
But
like
it's,
it.
and it's very, having instructed in the Cayenne, it's very strange passing a car and looking down at
Yeah.
the car as you're passing it. It's a weird feeling on the track.
I think the main thing, because it does sound like we're talking bad about the Cayenne, that's not the case.
Oh, no, we
just
love them.
want you to walk into this with
Yeah.
open eyes.
Yeah.
Don't go thinking, and this is me from experience talking now, don't go thinking that you're going to buy a $3,500 Cayenne and because it's a V6, oh, it's just a VW, it'll
Yeah.
be cheap to fix.
Yeah.
Don't walk into it like that. Walk into it like, I don't need the power. A V6 is $3,000 or $4,000 cheaper than a V8 S or whatever it might be. Then it might be the car for you.
Yeah, and,
So-
and same thing. If you're looking at a car like mine, that is a V8, and mine's that titanium edition with two-tone interior, colored gauge faces. Like my car is beautiful, Iceland silver. That car probably now is what, $5,000, $5,500.
Probably more than that.
I think a lot goes how the car is maintained.
Yeah.
Yeah,
To
You
me,
could probably
that's
sell yours for more.
more important than even mileage. If it has the maintenance records, and I can see it's been regularly maintained, and they didn't go a cheap route and delaying maintenance intervals, then to me that's a good car. Because I don't think anything's wrong with either the 6 or 8-cylinder engines. There's no something that says 100,000 miles in their toast.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
seem to be workhorses.
Yeah.
It's just stuff that ages, like coolant tubes, wires, vacuum lines. That stuff just gets old, especially from the heat. That eventually, on all cars, you're going to be replacing it.
I don't know where I heard it, but recently some video I was watching is German cars, even an old, decrepit German car, will probably turn on and get you there. It's just not everything's going to be working properly.
Now, here's something that I've heard. I haven't had personal experience. I haven't had any friends that I know that have had this issue, and I don't know if it applies to the 6-cylinder, but I know I've read that some people had bore scoring in V8s, and I don't know how prevalent that is. So again, this is where a PPI would be kind of important to do, and just keep that in the back
Or
of your mind.
learn how to wrench and just start buying engines and transmissions used.
That's not likely going to happen. All right. Well, let me see. Hop over to PCA.org. Make sure you sign up for our newsletters, performance news, e-brake news, Mark Fresh news, all free for you. Again, PCA.org. Let's try to knock out some news because we haven't been able to talk about news. We were just talking about your Macan, but there was a big number that they just celebrated.
They just built a 1 millionth Macan.
Man.
So mine's kind of rare. Mine's
One in a million.
one of probably like 50,000 white base Macans.
When did 911s get to a million? Like how quickly?
54 years it took to reach 1 million 911s.
And a Macan took how long?
12 years.
Wow, that's a lot of Macans.
That says a lot about their business plan.
Yeah.
They knew what they were doing when they came out to Macan, and it's helped them, I think, as we all know, keep on racing and keep on building sports cars. It's just part of Porsche, and most people who have Macans love them.
So yeah, to the testament of the Macan, the production number of 1 million, and how many calls do we get on quote unquote Macan problems?
I just got an email while we were doing a podcast from an old friend of mine who said, I just watched your buyer's guide video you and Vu did, and I know nothing about Macans, but now I'm very educated, and I feel more comfortable buying one. And people who are looking for that type of car, it fits the bill. It's
I think,
especially if you get a used one or CPO, it's just like the Cayenne. I mean, you look at it and it's a Porsche, and it feels like a Porsche when you drive it. And to me, like Damon gave his car the ultimate test and confidence driving all the way to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I knew it would make it there and back.
Back again. But I mean, that's a lot of for a car that high mileage. You got to have trust in it. I'm not sure every car around there I would trust.
You got to have that gene that Mr. Sass has. Like I get nervous.
He is St. Christopher. You know when he put the St. Christopher on the car? He is St. Christopher.
He
Gonna put a little Rob Sass doll in front of my
He
car.
has no problems hopping in a car.
I think
any
I'm more
mileage.
neurotic than Rob about that.
Yeah, so am I. I'm like loading up my AAA. I might get some Haggerty just in case AAA runs out.
I mean, Rob did show up in a TVR, brand new to him, and the coolant hose was already cut by the timing belt.
And he wasn't even stressed about it. He's like, I'll just put some tape around it and we're good to go.
happened in the perfect spot, right? at work.
I wish I could live like him sometime.
So the 1 millionth Macan was a Macan 4 electric, in case anyone's wondering.
Yeah.
And obviously, this is a brand that's still being made, so who knows what they'll do in the next 12 years.
Well, congratulations to the Macan. And like I said, for the numbers of Macans that are out there and the minimal sort of negative calls and emails that we would normally get if there's an issue, this just kind of tells you it's been a good run for them. This next issue is a little bit more sensitive to all of us because it hits us in the wallet.
Porsche raised their pricing again. Interestingly, they did not say it was because of the tariffs.
But it was because of the tariffs.
Well, what's interesting, so you could say, well, they don't want to upset the president, who doesn't like it when you say, at least I don't believe he likes it when you blame it on the tariffs.
Yeah.
But they may be smart not doing that in the sense that, let's say the tariffs are rescinded, they can still keep the price higher. Because if they say it's because of the tariffs, then you can say, how come you didn't reduce the price? But if you call it market conditions, that's basically saying what the market will bear, that if things are rescinded, then they can still keep that price. So I think that's maybe the reason why they didn't specifically say tariffs.
But I guess the good news is, I guess if you want to look at a price increase as good news, is it's not completely 100% passed on to the consumer because the increase was only 3.6%.
You know, and it's and I don't pretend to be an expert on tariffs, but from what Porsche was explaining to us, it's not like the 911 or Porsche or German cars have a certain percentage tariff. It's where the parts are coming from.
Oh.
So of course, every automaker has parts that are really global cars because they're made from all over the world. So if China has a certain percentage, then they have to take how much percentage of their cars are made in China, where the parts are, how many are made in Czechoslovakia or wherever they're having them built. So I remember them saying that the accounting department at Porsche was working overtime trying to figure out exactly what the tariff costs would be.
There's also, with the tariffs, you're not going to see manufacturers necessarily raising prices commensurate to what the tariffs are because they're still competing with each other. You know, if one manufacturer raises their prices more than another, then that other manufacturer is going to be getting probably a chunk of that other manufacturer's sales. Yeah. So, you know, Porsche's probably playing it safe on both fronts.
Yeah. All right. Our next item has to do with the new Taycan.
Black Edition.
Black Edition,
which comes with their Performance Battery Plus S Standard, taking it's up to 318 miles with 509 horsepower. And of course, if you don't like black, you can get it in any other color for an additional cost.
Is it still called the Black Edition?
Yes.
And
I think Mercedes does that too. I've seen white black editions.
Black edition. So it's a trim level.
I think it's like turbo on the Taycan, where it's not really turbo, but it's just called that.
Looks pretty good.
So, yeah, if you want an exclusive Taycan, Porsche is more than happy to help you.
All right. And then, the last one, Cup car news.
Yeah, I'll let Damon, he wrote the article about the new Cup car.
Yeah, so when I received a heads up from Porsche Cars North America that we'd be getting something if we signed an NDA, as happens when we get press releases ahead of time. And it just happened that I had spoken with Mike Levitas, which runs TPC Racing, and they race in the Carrera Cup North America. I'll get to that in a second. But the previous Cup car was a 911 GT3 Cup. This is now the 911 Cup. So they did change the name, which is probably the biggest change that we know about. Which basically,
I think a lot of news outlets didn't read the whole thing when they wrote it. Because I remember you telling me that, and I thought that's pretty cool, that name change. But I started doing a article comparing the GT3R, and I noticed everyone has called it the GT3 Cup, the new GT3 Cup they're calling it.
Yeah. So it's called the 911 Cup now. And totally unrelated, I was talking to Mike Levitas about another project that we hope to do together, and he mentioned how he thought that and I'll scroll down here a little bit if you're watching on YouTube, but he was thinking that Porsche is going to start racing the GT3s in the GT4 class. And I forget all the reasoning he had behind it, but he talked about this, and I believe it's partly because of size of the car, is what determines partly GT3 versus GT4, et cetera, et cetera. And he was thinking that Porsche is going to be racing these Cup cars in GT4 now, in GT4 class instead of GT3, which I'm wondering, it kind of makes sense, removes the confusion. But yeah, it's a better Cup car, probably a little more power, or better flowing or efficient engine, if not more power. Everything, it just seemed like the package was just refined a bit more using customer feedback, the customer teams. So
Very cool.
don't expect a game changer, but the name did change, and that could be the biggest thing about it.
So seeing the camouflage on this car, and I know you didn't put this down, Manny, but I have been reading quite a bit on the camouflaged new all-electric Cayenne. And sources have shared with me that it's quite an impressive vehicle.
Yes, and they're going to be selling all three types: hybrid, gas, and electric Cayennes at one time.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Richard Hammond has already driven it up that hill climb
Yeah.
for Drive Tribe. So,
Oh.
and they set a record, but
Yeah.
that wasn't Richard Hammond.
No,
okay.
So,
Gotcha.
That's when they kind of like debuted it.
Yeah.
They weren't hiding it anymore. They were just, it said electric all over it, so
Yeah.
it was like no hiding. That was electric Cayenne.
Exactly. Upcoming events, we've got Works Reunion Monterey, August 15th. Registration is open for the Corral. I believe all the judge spots are spoken for. We still have a couple of slots if you want to come and exhibit. We've got a full house of exhibitors. You're going to see a lot of cool things there. Some car debuts, some high-end scale models. We've got,
Same location.
Same
but
location.
We're going to redo
The field-
entry or something like that. Melly's out there right now.
Yeah,
right?
so actually, because part of, growing pains and part of our success, we've just gotten so large that egress has been difficult because it's only one entrance pretty much for the Monterey Pines Golf Course. So what they're doing is they are opening up a second, it's got a second exit, not second entrance, but a second exit so that people can get out a little bit easier. It's still going to be a lot of people trying to leave at the same time, but it should be less
That's
painful.
pretty much every Monterey event I think I run into.
Even if it's easy to get out of our spot, you're going to run into traffic in Monterey. So it's
you know
just
what
funny.
you should have? Because there are enough SUVs there, you should have SUV exit, and it's got like some rocks and like sports car the other way.
We just want them out. I don't care how they get out, just as long as they get out safely. So we're working on that. Melanie's, as Manny says, on the site visit to plan all the details for that. Treffin at Sea, we actually had a few more people from Parade sign up for the 70th anniversary cruise. We're leaving August 30th and traveling until September 6th. Looking forward to that. Celebrating our anniversary. We've got some VIPs, Alan Springer, and a couple of notable speakers. Nathan's going to be on the cruise. Once we come back from there, we will be very close to our birthday, which is September 13th, where we will have the PCA open house here in Columbia. And so we invite you to come to that. We'll have sign up information shortly for that. And since our last call, our last podcast, you have thrown up a couple of videos. I don't know if you want to mention it.
Yeah, so I always forget when you ask me this. So we had a video at the Concours. So that's one of them. Manny and Chris Jacobs, former host of Overhaulin', and also a knowledgeable Porsche enthusiast, ended up walking around the Concours, and Manny and I selected cars beforehand and at the prep, and we just tried to bring a view of the wide variety of Porsches that are there. It's kind of funny. The colors didn't pop on a lot of them like some of our other ones, some whites and silvers, and was it shore blue for the ST, which is very nice blue but doesn't pop. But all the cars had some really cool stories, like the 906, which the guy still drives on the street, has a license plate and everything.
From a working perspective, it was an awesome place because it was air conditioned inside, but I'm sure the photographers were complaining big time because of the overhead lights and trying to find an angle where it wasn't shining on the car, which was nearly impossible. And plus what Damon just brought up, the colors, it's just that's the bad part of having something indoors is the lighting's killer.
Can I put one thing to bed?
Mm-hmm.
So there were a lot of comments I noticed on that video where people are like, why is Chris Jacobs there? People don't. So I get it, right? People know him primarily from Overhaulin', Motor Trend, Macans, and he is a hot rod dude. But he is also, one, a PCA member, a long-time 911 G-Body Targa owner, and he does bleed Porsche. He loves Porsche, and he's very knowledgeable. All that stuff you saw, to go toe-to-toe with Manny on stuff, you got to know your Porsche stuff, and he certainly does. So for those of you that are confused as to why Chris is there. He's a Porsche dude.
Yeah, we didn't use any script. That
Yeah.
was just basically on the fly. We, like Damon said, the two of us walked around and picked cars ahead of time before
Yeah.
Chris got there. But I didn't coach him on anything.
He
might
was
have
ready
told
to
him
go.
one or
He was
two
ready to
facts
go.
about the particular car that made
Yeah.
why we picked it. But no, he's a consummate professional.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah, he had 20 minutes, I think, before he was ready to go, and I was ready to start. And I'm like, walk around real quick, and that's all he had.
Yeah, he's
So,
he's
he knows
an
his
all
stuff.
around great guy. He definitely is a Porsche guy as well as a hot rod guy, and we can be both. You can be, it's funny how people just, if we find ourselves anywhere besides a Porsche event, people are like, why are you here? Because we like all cars. It is possible to like more than one make, right? Well, for you, Manny, it's tough. Manny's like, well,
I respect the other makes.
I like other makes.
No, I love watching him, and all the guys will meet him. That's probably one of the reasons I love Meekum and the other auction houses is I just sit there and I learn about the cars.
Yeah.
Because, these guys know what they're talking about. So do I follow the muscle car world? No.
All right.
But I can really appreciate when they're saying this is why this car is going to go for $1 million.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I didn't. A lot of times I'll sit there Googling to find out more about the car because I'm like, now I can really appreciate. I've always said that at Amelia Island and at Pebble Beach and all these, I wish that I could have someone with me saying, the car you just walked by, this is how rare this is, and this is how important it
Manny
is.
wants to walk with his personal docent.
I do. Once I can become as rich as Bill Gates, that's what I'll have.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I plug one of our recent podcasts that I thought was an absolute honor to be able to do at Parade, and that was to sit down with the Roof family.
That's the one from last week.
Yeah, that was
Yep.
pretty cool.
Yeah, it was.
I'm amazed. Somebody made a comment about how articulate Eloise is. Same thing as Eloise.
Yeah.
Is theirs is for English not being their first language.
Yeah.
Very articulate, and it's just like you said, a pleasure to speak with them, and so well spoken, and it's
Genuine.
you can see the enthusiasm of the family business and what they're doing, and how much Porsche means to them.
Yep. Absolutely.
I was pretty amazed that they had used hydroelectricity to power a experimental prototype just because they wanted to.
Yeah.
So
They're
that
just
was
passionate folks trying to figure out things, and yeah.
The
It
river.
almost
I think it was
reminds-
the river next to their shop.
Yep,
basically.
exactly.
Yeah.
You can really appreciate like Gunther Works because I thought to myself afterwards, I'm like, we found out that Roof has 3 engineers that do all this stuff, just 3 engineers. Then I started wondering, I wonder how many that Gunther Works has.
Yeah.
Because you just take for granted that everyone has an army of engineers that are making this happen. But when you hear only 3
Yeah.
and they have that wide model line, that's
Yeah.
pretty impressive.
And speaking of Gunther Works and also Works Reunion, they're bringing some special cars at Monterey, so keep an eye out for that. All right, let's talk about sim racing. If you're looking at trying your hand at sim racing, do it with PCA and PCA members. Head over to PCASimRacing.com and get yourself set up. And you could even check out some of the sim racing races from the past that we've covered on YouTube, or just go to the sim racing website. Looking for insider swag? We have microphones. We have bottles, mugs, T-shirts, all at PCA's web store. And if you're looking for PCA Insider decals, which it's kind of funny. I was at Parade walking around on the lot, and I saw some Insider decals on cars, which was kind of cool.
It's very cool having members come up to say they enjoy the podcast.
Yeah.
And it's always funny meeting the wives who say they want to meet the voice behind. They hear every morning on Monday mornings, and yeah, it's
Yeah, thank you for listening and the support, and thank you for saying stuff to us when we're out and about. We do appreciate and know that you're enjoying the podcast. And again, if you're looking for decals, just send your address information to podcast@pca.org, and we'll send you a couple for you to show your pride. Anything else before we wrap this one up? This one kind of blew by, huh?
Yeah.
All good?
I think I'm good. Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, thank you for listening. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Consider sharing our show with fellow Porsche enthusiasts. Until next time, stay safe, and we'll catch you down the road.